10 years ago this night. I was just being released from the hospital after giving birth to my 10-year-old, Cameron. I'd been induced on December 23rd and spent an uneventful day snug in a hospital bed, watching movies, and hanging out with my mom and my husband. Thankfully, I had taken the epidural, so I endured minimal pain or discomfort. In fact, I was taking a nap when that unmistakable urge to push came on me, and I woke up thinking, I think it's time. So I turned to JJ and my mom, who were watching Runaway Bride, something really exciting, and suggested that maybe they should get the nurse. And you won't believe this, but JJ actually suggested that I wait because he wasn't done with the movie. I assured him that probably was not his best decision, so he did go and get the nurse, which was pretty terrific. She came in and checked, and sure enough, it was time. And then she said, "Hold on while we get the doctor." I was comfortable. I was fine. I kind of snoozed a little bit more. But in came Dr. Chow, and about 45 minutes later, Cameron was brought into the world. We were overjoyed to meet him for the first time, and I fell in love with him immediately. The proximity to Christmas and Cameron's birth has always caused me to think about Mary. I think probably most mothers at one point imagine what it must have been like for Mary. Of course, some of you may be thinking, well, those of you who know me well, probably you should be relating better to Elizabeth, who, of course, was beyond childbearing age when she had her son. But I often thought about Mary having a child this very night 2,000 years ago. She wasn't nestled in a comfortable bed. She wasn't being attended by her mother or nurses. She did not get the epidural, and in fact was not even in a proper home. She was in a humble stable, bedded down with the animals. Jesus came into this world and was laid in a manger, a feeding trough, a food bowl. Luke mentions this detail 3 times, and I can't help but think that he emphasized it for a reason. This repetition about manger is no accident. We hear first of it in Luke 2:17 when we're told that Mary gave birth, wrapped the baby up tight, and then laid him in the manger. Next, we learn that the angels appeared to the shepherds who were working the night shift while tending their flocks. They were initially terrified at the stranger who appeared, but the words of the angel were soothing, and they told the shepherds of the Messiah who was born, and that they would find him wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger. This would be a sign to them. Luke mentions the manger a 3rd time when the heavenly message is confirmed. The shepherds arrived to the place where Jesus is laid. He was, in fact, lying in a manger. Just as the angels had said, the sign was confirmed. Perhaps the manger is not just a sign for the shepherds, but also a sign for us. The manger is not only a sign of Jesus' humility, but it's a feeding trough where all of God's creatures come to eat. This is a sign for us to realize that God is pointing us to something greater. In Deuteronomy 8:3, Moses said that one does not live by bread alone. And what he means is that we all long for more. We all long for something deeper, something that we crave. No longer that longing or hunger is for meaning in our lives. We often strive for things that we think will curb that hunger, but nothing seems to work. Jesus said to us, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never be hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. At the Last Supper, you'll recall Jesus took bread and said, "This is my body, which is given for you." This man, this Messiah, who called himself the bread of life, is the only one who can satisfy the deepest longing of our souls. This man, this Messiah, was born in Bethlehem, the town that is known as the house of bread. And he was laid to sleep that first night in a trough where God's creatures eat. What we're hungering for, brothers and sisters, will not be found under your Christmas tree in the morning. What we are longing for is a relationship with Christ. We are hungry for meaning. We hunger for joy, hope, and peace. We hunger to know that we can be forgiven and start anew after doing things that we regret. We hunger for a love that won't let us go, and for a life and a triumph over death. These come to us through a baby born in a stable, laid to sleep in a feeding trough, visited by shepherds who were part of the night crew. He is for us the bread of life. And we must come to the stable to satisfy the deepest desires of our hearts. God does not come looking for us in the castles of the world. He came to earth in a humble stable, surrounded by animals, hay, and manure. God knows that those who need him most are found in every conceivable place on the planet, at business centers and shopping malls, in schools and parks. God's people are found in gutters and at galas. We are all invited to come and feast at the manger, to take in the love and the grace that Jesus brings to all of us. This is a sign, a baby laying in a manger, who has come to save the world. Amen.